Hi everyone, my name is Michael Galloway and my presentation is on Ryanair and the crew management failures in 2017. Ryanair is an extreme budget airline in Europe and they are the largest international carrier by volume in Europe. And they take advantage of cost savings by taking airports closer to underserved areas. And most of these destinations end up becoming tourist destinations because of the ticket price. So what happened in 2017? First of all, the period of time was September through October, a 6-week period when 40 to 50 flights were canceled every day, affecting more than 100,000 travelers and their travel plans. First of all, the human resources failure was due to the change in calendar year, from calendar year ending March and beginning in April to ending in December and beginning in January. This is due to a alignment to the Irish calendar year for businesses. The cabin crew and aircrew management failure happened on the forecast of leave time to crew ratios. Also an operational failure. The chief executive officer had a PR failure in that he basically doesn't care about the patrons in this situation. So let's talk about the cabin and flight crew for a minute. They're typically young, low-time pilots and cabin crew, and they're not afforded the usual union representation. Ryanair discourages union representation, and therefore their contracts are very minimal. They are highly leveraged against because they have low time, and this is pretty much the only job that they can get. They are also relied on for multiple roles. Like I said, they're the biggest international airline in Europe, and they serve many countries around the world. But Ryanair had issues with the calendar adjustment. They had a longer calendar year this year. Therefore, when it came time for time off, paid time off, they were forced to give those time off. Also, working against the company was the fact that there was a restriction on the time off that the calendar time off that they could take. The restricted period was over the summer between May and July. Also, there was disgruntled employees because their time off was not during the summer. As you can see in the graph below, the forecasting clearly showed that there would be a surplus of aircrew during the middle of the summer with a drop off toward the end of summer, and finally not able to meet the demand over September and October. The time limitation for each aircrew on any European airline is 100 hours per month and 1,000 hours per year. And with the change in times in the calendar, this meant that more pilots would even have to take leave time off in September. So what did Michael O'Leary have to say about this whole situation? Well, he wasn't a fan of many customers because he had problems with talking to about Muslims inappropriately, which he had to apologize for, talking about taking airline seats out to put more passengers in, and even pay to use the lavatory. But in this case, he blamed ATC and weather in the airports, but ultimately it was his lack of customer service from the beginning, His arrogance led to outrage, and he could have avoided all of it if they had forecasted properly the leave over the summer. Finally, I'd like to end with Tony Robbins quote, "Identify your problems, but give your power and energy to solutions." So all the power and energy in this situation went to saving the company money regardless of the customer's situation. The CEO lacked the ownership of the problem and failed to manage the crew correctly. As a result, Michael O'Leary had to change his customer service situation, and in the end, he actually cares for his customers. Thank you and have a good evening.